Wow.
Wow. That was the best podcast we ever did, and we forgot to hit the record button on the camera. Oh man, Adam's not here. Oh jeez. Oh god. We might be commenting on that in the next couple episodes.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess, I blew my opening line already, unless you somehow find a way to fit it in.
You didn't blow it. I think that was a really well thought statement. Pussy does not require a database.
So pussy requires a database?
Yeah. Jon Favreau is a smart man.
Well, friggin', do you see everything he pulled in that movie?
It's true. Yeah. It's true.
Okay, so yeah. Did I say this already? We're talking about Chef.
We're talking about Chef, the 2014 film.
Yes.
Written and directed by Jon Favreau.
Yep.
Of Iron Man fame.
Elf fame.
And The Mandalorian fame. But also the Book of Boba Fett.
The Lion King remake.
And the Jungle Book remake. Which...
He's been busy.
Yeah. But you wanted to do Chef.
Yes.
You've been very adamant about we need to do this Chef movie.
Chef is probably like a movie I can watch. Like, I've probably watched it like 24 times already. Okay. Like, I can watch it like without ever being bored.
Okay, is it like in your top 5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Really? Wow.
It's like, but like, it's probably not being like my favorite movie, but being a movie that I would always watch. Like, or if I like don't know what to watch, I'm like, okay, I want to watch Chef.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have movies like that too.
Yeah. But I also think it's a good movie. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I had not seen this movie before. This is kind of rare. It's where we're doing more. It's a movie I haven't seen. The only other one before this was Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I did like the movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie quite a bit.
Okay.
I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's really good.
So it's really funny because it's like I liked it, but I think last night when I watched it was the first time I watched it with like a real critical eye, and there was like a few times with the scenes that I was like, that probably doesn't hold up. So
right, and just because Chef is like probably because all the movies we've done, like we did Star Wars, and then we did some other stuff that we can't talk about, but they're a little bit more bigger profile.
Yes.
So essentially, if anyone doesn't know what Chef is about, it's essentially just about Jon Favreau, who plays a chef in like a fancy kitchen, like a fancy high-end kitchen.
Like an executive kitchen, like, yeah.
Yeah, and he has a meltdown at a critic, and essentially has a midlife crisis, sort of. Kind of. And then starts a food truck.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
Yeah. So, well, like, I'd put it like, there's probably 2 big arcs, and that's one of them.
Yeah. The movie has, it's like the first half of the movie has like a rigid, like very traditional movie arc, and then the last half feels almost like a slice of life. Because there's a lot of like dramatic beats in the first half, and the last half, like, there isn't any dramatic beats. If that makes sense.
I would say it's like it's almost where the second storyline takes over.
Yes.
Where it's him connecting with his kid.
Right, yes. And, but what I mean by that is that the second half is, like the first half is like, oh, he's being challenged by Dustin Hoffman. And the waitress is Scarlett Johansson. That's another thing in this movie. There's a lot of like big A-list actors who show up for like 1 or 2 scenes and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
Like RDJ shows up for 1 scene.
Yeah.
And it's a great scene, but it's also scenes like, it was also a scene necessarily wasn't even needed, really.
No.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
but it's like, this is star power. I'm assuming that's why Jon Favreau even had them, because he knew them from MCU and was like, hey, I'm doing this movie. Come and be in my movie.
Well, I think this was like his follow-up movie right
after Iron Man 2?
Like, yeah, this was like the first one he took, like, had complete control over since Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Well, this was a much cheaper budget. It was only $1 million to make or something.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of like a situation of like, I do one for you guys and then I go and do my own indie thing.
Yeah.
Like Taika Waititi does that a lot too, where it's like, I'm gonna make this big thing, and I'm gonna go do my own thing.
I've watched a lot of videos about like the making of this movie and stuff like that.
I did some research as well.
And I heard it was more like almost like the whole film is a bit of a metaphor for how he felt through Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah, you could see it. You could
Yeah.
just see it like just as creative career in general.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm someone, I don't give a shit about food. If you're a foodie out there, that's great. But I'm just like, put it in me. Everyone just put it in me. I'm editing this so I. But I'm just not. I don't care. It's like, here's some pizza, whatever. So, but like watching this movie, you really get the feeling it's about the food, but it isn't about the food. It's more of a metaphor for like just being creative.
Yeah.
Especially the beginning with Dustin Hoffman, who's the manager. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's like so emblematic of like someone who's trying to be creative and someone who's just do the same thing over and over.
He's a big deal, and that's why I want to cook him a good menu.
You want to cook him a
Yeah,
good.
I want to cook him some good food.
Yeah. Well, then.
And our place is in a fucking creative rut.
in a rut.
In a creative rut.
You do know that we're doing better than any place in the
I'm not
neighborhood.
talking about how much money we're making. I'm talking about creatively, the food that we're serving.
I mean, it's definitely creative, but I could see like the Dustin Hoffman character is probably relatable to anybody. Like everybody's probably had like a Dustin Hoffman character in their life.
And the thing is, you can also kind of see his logic in the sense it's like, well, everyone comes here to this restaurant to have the same old food they always have, make them happy. But then you have someone who's like really passionate about something. They just want to do their best, and he's like, no, do the safe thing that works.
Yeah.
So outside of cooking, that's relatable to anyone in any creative field. I've been there, so it's like,
yeah, like how do I want to say this? To push the boundaries is scary for anybody.
It is. It's scary, and it's especially weird that like Dustin Hoffman's character is like, you know who's coming tonight, and then he gets like essentially the rematch to do it right the next time, and Dustin Hoffman's still like, no, do it the same. It's like, did you not see what happened the first time?
I had a bit of an issue with that. It was like where I was like, would a character really react that way?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, you think they would learn from the first time. It's like, okay, it didn't work out. I'll give the chef control, which was part of our deal, which he completely reneges on.
Yeah.
Like, he's made to be, like, really unlikable.
Yes.
But he's only in, like, 3 scenes in the whole movie, so... But yeah, like, that just, like, the first half of the movie is, like, mostly just him dealing with, like, that issue of, like, trying to, like, do something different and being told no, and being like frustrated with that, and it's kind of implicated that frustration is what led to like his family kind of
because
splitting up.
It talks about like there's like very subtle things about like how like he moved from Miami to LA kind of to work at that restaurant.
He got his first big job in Miami, but then got an offer to go to the new place to work there. And I felt like he just got kind of put into like a cage, essentially.
Yeah.
And like that frustration, like kind of hurt his marriage, it hurt his relationship with his kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like the second half of the movie is kind of solidifies that because he just does what he wants. Essentially, he does something that he could be passionate about and just does it.
Yeah.
And like the first half of the movie is very much like dramatic beats. Like we got the critic, you could almost say, is like the enemy in the first half, all along with Dustin Hoffman's character.
Yeah.
There's a lot more character drama in the first half, and then the second half is more like there's no bumps in their journey as far as the success of the food truck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of appreciate that because a traditional movie would be like they're going along and like there's a part where a cop shows up, right?
And you'd think that he'd like shut them down.
Yeah, exactly. A lesser movie would do that for easy drama.
Yes.
And this movie's like, no.
Yeah. Except that scene was just a little bit annoying.
It was.
But also a little bit fun. Like it was funny, but it just like went a little bit too long.
Oh, I agree.
Good.
Hey, can I take one pressing a sandwich or something?
Got it.
Good? Okay.
All right.
Good.
Hey, can we do one more where, like Lady and the Tramp, you know, you're biting one end, I'm biting the other? Come on, you can do this.
This is also, I didn't think this movie was... The movie, in a way, feels like a time capsule of 2014 as well.
Yes.
Where everyone's like, Twitter, and this is before Twitter became the hell site that it is now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a part where they're on the bus and the kid's looking at vines on his phone. I'm like,
Yeah.
this instantly dated this movie. And then there's also a point where Jon Favreau makes a Honey Boo Boo reference. I'm like, I forgot that was even a thing.
That conversation was funny.
That was funny. That was another celebrity cameo.
Amy Sedaris.
Amy Sedaris, who's in one scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And Russell Peters was the cop.
Yes. I remember that. And yeah, he took all those photos. Yeah, it pushed it a little too far. But aside from that, there's like a little bit of drama with Jon Favreau's character and his kid early on, where he's like, "You clean that bin." He's like, "No, clean the bin, no." And they fight, and then he's immediately like, "I'm sorry, but what happened? You want to go get for like what I mean by a lesser movie? That would be easy drama there too.
Yeah.
It'd be like, well, that's going to be a big arc, them forgiving each other. That's going to pay off in the climax, and it's like, no, they just act like people. And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my cool there.
Yeah.
And they just,
Yeah.
and I don't mean like that's a positive thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It treats them like actual people, not like movie prop characters.
Yeah. What'd you think of the kid acting?
I thought he was fine.
I thought he was fine.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he was 10. He looks older than 10 to me, but
Really?
yeah,
I thought it was like pretty decently. I've always thought he looked like age appropriate.
yeah, he looked like a little older to me. But other than that, that's not saying anything about his acting ability.
No.
I thought he was fine in the movie.
What was it? I guess we kind of skipped ahead because I wanted to know, like, what did you know about the movie before you watched it? Like, what were your expectations or anything?
Oh, nothing.
No expectations.
I mean,
then.
I like Jon Favreau. I like his more independent stuff so I assumed the movie was going to be good. It reminds me a lot, writing-wise, of, have you ever seen Swingers?
No, but I understand that's his, like...
That was his big movie.
Yeah.
He didn't direct it, but he wrote the script like he wrote
Yeah.
for Chef. And stylistically, they're very similar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're mostly, like, kind of slice of life. Like, these are just two people dealing with the situation.
Yeah.
Like, in Swingers, it's like he broke up with his girlfriend, and it's like all his guys trying to help him, like, move on. And that's pretty much the whole movie. And this is
okay.
just, like, a guy who's, like, frustrated with his job, who finds a new job and likes it more.
Yeah.
So they follow kind of a pattern like that.
What else? What about the music?
I didn't really notice the music that much.
Really?
Not really.
I love the music in this movie.
Oh,
I think
really?
that's one of the things I love so much about it.
Okay.
Is like, I don't know. It's just like a good mix of it. Like, I mean, not that I like listen to like Cuban music or anything like that, and like outside of it, but it's like it just found it fit well and all that. Like, so
Yeah, it works well, especially with them selling Cuban food at their
Yes,
their truck. So yeah, I just didn't really notice it that much. But the main feeling that I got from this movie, and this is the most important thing I think we need to address, is I felt hungry at every point in the movie. There was a point where he made his kid a grilled cheese sandwich. I had to pause the movie and go make a grilled cheese. That's not even joking. I made it a grilled cheese, and it was like way crappier than whatever he made. I was using Kraft singles. I was like,
that's really funny.
but but I was holding out till like it was like 30 minutes in when that grilled cheese showed up, and like the whole time, like, oh, this looks so good.
The food shots are really good.
Yeah, it's like porn almost. Like, we're gonna make this look as good as possible. Oh, like that was the main thing. I'm like, I'm just so hungry.
It's really funny. Did you see the post-credit scene, or like it was like inter-credits?
I saw that there was like shots of like the band playing. Right? I didn't.
No.
Watch past that.
There's a. Oh,
I did not see the post credits then. No.
so it's just a behind the scenes, like while they were shooting that scene, the grilled cheese.
Right.
And there was one of the he's an executive producer. His name is Roy Choi. He's a famous chef. And he was kind of
he was the consultant on this movie.
Yeah. So he was showing Jon Favreau like how he would do that scene, and he was there like, you want to like only focus on the grilled cheese and stuff like that. And he's like, you want to get in there like with the spatula and like be lifting it and stuff like that.
Press it down with your hand on the griddle.
Yeah. He was like teaching them all that stuff and that. So it's really funny because like they've gone on and they've made a show.
The Chef Show on Netflix. Yeah, I read up about that.
Yeah. And they did an episode where they recreated the grilled cheese with Bill Burr.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, because he said the same thing. Like he was there, like I saw that, and I was there, like I gotta make a grilled cheese. Yeah. He's there, like he was like kind of like I gotta make a grilled cheese, but I gotta make it fancy, and I gotta like this is something I could probably do.
Gourmet grilled cheese. Oh, cheese. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad other people felt that way. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, but it's like So I like whoever like it feels like somebody. I don't know, like just like went nuts with the food shots or something like that. Like
yeah, well, I think Jon Favreau was he was really fascinated with the food industry when he was making this, because he was like he listed like a bunch of his influences, and a lot of them are like cooking documentaries. So I think they're, aside from it just being like a metaphor for his own film career, I think he did have like general like he was into like the food industry, like the chef and high-end cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that's why he wanted to make a movie about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have some other things here. I don't know.
Yeah. This is your show, man.
This is my show.
This is your show. You picked the movie.
Thoughts on RDJ? His character and like that whole scene?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it earlier, but he's really funny in the scene. Yeah. I feel like the scene is completely unimportant in the overall narrative.
Yeah.
But he's really entertaining in the scene.
Yeah. It's
got my tubes tied. No, wait. So it can't be mine.
I know. I got a problem because she's best receptionist I've ever had.
Yeah.
Good news is I had my tubes tied in '08, so clearly she's also a fucking liar.
Right. That's tough.
What do you want? You want coconut water?
That was really funny.
Yeah. Well, just like how he's like playing with like Favreau the whole time.
Well, if that's what he's doing, because I couldn't get a read on him if he was actually being genuinely nice or he was just messing with them. It was hard for me to tell.
Yeah.
And you never really find out because you only see one scene of him, so you don't really get to see what his actual character is.
Yeah.
But this one scene is hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, you have to kind of assume that he was a good guy. Because, I mean, he's there like, I've got this truck for you. And
yeah.
Carl Casper's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, don't thank me till you see it. And, like, he's not like being like, oh, I'm doing you this big favor or whatever. He's there like, this is what I've got for you. Don't, like,
right.
I mean, he's not like setting his expectations way up high, at least. So
That's true. That's true. But then he also mentions, oh, by the way, I banged your wife. It's like, I banged your ex-wife.
But he kind of left it ambiguous, like it could have happened.
Yeah, but that's like the last bit of real drama in the entire movie, is that? And then everything else is just kind of like, we're going on a magical food journey.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it.
No, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying it's atypical for a movie.
This movie, I watched this movie, I'm like, I want a food truck. I
did not get that feeling. I watched them in the back of that food truck. I'm like, it'd be a nightmare working a food truck for me.
Oh,
I'm just thinking all the grease and stuff. I'm like, ugh.
It's like I've had friends where we're like, yeah, let's go buy a food truck, and like I've made a menu for a food truck. And
really, you went that far?
Yeah,
that's like groups of guys saying, let's buy a bar, guys. Let's buy a bar.
Yeah. It's like to the point I was online looking at. I figured out that it would probably be more cost effective to buy a trailer instead of actually buying a food truck.
Right.
And just towing it around. And like, yeah, I kind of went a little bit deep with it.
Wow, was that all because of Chef, or was this before Chef?
This was since Chef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, this movie had a profound impact on your life.
Well, I mean, like, not that I've done anything about it yet.
But you went that far to like, I made a menu and I'm looking at trucks online.
And like, I've also thought about like, I want to work in a kitchen. I'd like go like, not that like there's like a lot of like really high-end restaurants like that around here.
Hell no.
No, well, like especially on that level, no. But like, I mean, there are some nice restaurants. I've thought about like just like getting like a crappy line cook job just to at least get the feeling. And the idea of like what they do, like the family supper or what family meal or whatever that they do, and like how they're always hanging out at the bar after. That just like that lifestyle appeals to me too.
Okay. Jon Favreau in this movie does kind of look like you. I'm not gonna lie. There's kind of got a Jon Favreau.
If I had like the curly hair.
If you had the curly fro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you in this movie. So I can see why you identify with it and get the goatee.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of there right now. So, but yeah,
No, I get what you mean. You identify a lot with this movie.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I like cooking anyways. But yeah, so and like when he, it's I don't know if we want to keep this part in, but like when he does him and Scarlett Johansson's character are kind of like it's getting hot between them, and he's like, "Let me cook for you."
Yeah.
And I was there like, "That's the coolest thing ever!" Like,
Yeah. And then she eats it, and there's like a hard cut, and it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was gonna cut to them like banging or something, but it's like hard cut, and the next scene.
yeah, which is like probably good, like a good story choice, I guess. Like, why do you need to like? You can leave it ambiguous.
Sure.
So
But the movie has a lot of hard cuts.
yeah,
There's one early on that I really like where it's like where he's talking to his son and he's like, "You want this fruit? This is what you want. You don't want what was it? Corn,
kettle corn.
kettle corn. You don't want that. That's carbs covered in sugar. You don't want you want this orange. You want the orange. Hard cut to them eating kettle corn.
Look at this piece of fruit. Huh? It's beautiful. How could you even want kettle corn with a gorgeous piece of fruit like this in front of you? Why don't you have a piece of fruit? So apparently...
Like that made me laugh really hard.
That yeah,
And I noticed a lot of hard cuts like that throughout the movie. And then at the end, when his son sends him the video of the 1 second, and it also has that kind of hard cut.
Yes.
I'm like, was that an intentional editing choice?
I mean, I have no idea.
I know.
I've
I'm just speculating. Like, could
Yeah.
that have been an intentional choice to make it fit?
yeah,
Like a thematic thing.
maybe I don't know what he's trying to say with it.
I don't either, but I'm just saying that they seem similar to me.
Yes,
That's all I'm saying.
the going back to that fruit stands, like the farmers market scene.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where they're talking about beignets.
Right.
And there was a line in it, and I wrote it down. And he's like, his son's like, "Oh, I've had beignets before," and he's like, "No, it's not the same, because when you have a beignet, it reminds you of the memories from when you were in New Orleans."
Right.
And then it's like it kind of like it comes full circle when they do get to have them
Oh
together.
yeah, and they go shopping. It's like, what else do you need to get? Oh, nothing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just came here to get these, and that's it.
So it's kind of cool because it's like this thing of like that's what beignets are going to mean to this kid now.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought.
Well,
it was
that's
cool.
the part of his character being really passionate about food comes through, where he's like, even when they're at the restaurant, he's like, "No, I want him to try this Cuban sandwich," because he's trying to like share that kind of thing he really cares about with his son.
Yeah.
And like that's really powerful. And when he has the food truck and he's in a situation where he's finally happy, like it's
Yeah.
even easier to do that, and that's how they kind of fix that relationship.
Yeah. But well, even like, but he was also able to show like interest with his son's interests too, like Twitter and I guess
Twitter,
like,
yeah.
online things where he was like, and it's like when it came to the point when New Orleans when they had that big crowd gathered and he was there like, oh, this is something you're good at too, and it was like, and you could see like he was like, oh, I'm proud of you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know, him getting to know his son as well as getting to share with his son what he's like.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. The movie almost has kind of almost like a fairy tale vibe almost in the second half, where it's like everything goes right and they all live happily ever after. He gets to get back together with his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And everything is great. The end. The critic who was mean to him apologized and gave him money.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta like a good story.
I do, but also I'm very cynical, so I'm like, it almost reminded me of like, did he get knocked on the head midway through the movie and this is like a fantasy in his head? It's like people make that comment with like Minority Report too, where it's like the ending gets really happy and like fairy tale out of nowhere. Is he just locked up in a brain tube somewhere? Like,
Yeah.
that's what it kind of reminded me of a little bit, but it is a feel-good family. I won't say it's a family film. We quoted some of these lines. It's not a family film, but like, yeah, good stuff. It's good. Like, I'm not so cynical. It doesn't affect me. It's just very atypical compared to a lot of movies that have a lot of bullshit, easy drama, and this movie just kind of shows it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've kind of gone through everything I wrote down.
Yeah, this was a big request from you, so
Yeah.
I wish I had more to say about it. It's just like it's a good movie, and there's not a lot of like stupid shit to talk about with it too, as far as easy content goes.
Yeah.
And it's just solid. It's a solid like indie movie. So
There's one nitpicky thing that I thought of when I was watching it was the first conflict between Casper and Dustin Hoffman's character. There's like this like giant like exposition of
I wanted to mention that. Yeah.
of like they're like, do you know who this is? This critic and he did
AOL
this.
bought his website
Yeah.
for $1.2 million.
Yes.
You know who's coming tonight. We're being reviewed by the most important critic in the city.
Yes.
You know that his online blog was sold to AOL
For $10 million.
That's right.
Yes.
You knew that.
Yes.
And it was weird because the kid and Jon Favreau's character have that exact same conversation when they're eating like food, where he's telling the kid about, we got this big important critic coming. Like that was enough.
Yeah.
That was enough. You didn't need Dustin Hoffman going on a huge exposition dump.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree.
Felt very exposition-y.
Oh yeah, that's the
But-
only part writing wise I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, Jon Favreau did write the script in 2 weeks, so
Did he really?
same for Swingers too.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Frig.
Talented guy, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat.
Make a grilled cheese
I'm
sandwich.
gonna go make a grilled cheese sandwich. You can stop the camera right